Chapter 2411, Second Reincarnation, 1. It was all thanks to her that Jiaonan had a great second reincarnation. So what if she was more bad-tempered and didn't treat Jiaonan well in the past? Jiaonan had to listen to her words and be more filial to her than before. Ding Jiyi dared to have such thoughts, dared to say such things, and dared to do such things. Qiao Zijin didn't. She was extremely careful and didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. Ding Jiyi gave birth to Jiaonan. No matter how thick-skinned and shameless she was, Jiaonan had to tolerate it and couldn't scold her. Qiao Zijin and Jiaonan belonged to the same generation. All these years, she had been taking advantage of Jiaonan via Ding Jiyi. Qiao Zijin instigated Ding Jiyi to do so as she wanted her to keep a tight watch on Jiaonan so that Jiaonan could be her slave this lifetime and the money Jiaonan earned could be in her pockets. As she was different from Ding Jiyi in terms of identity and stand, no matter how good she was at making things up, she couldn't say that everything she did before was actually for Jiaonan's good. She was willing to say that she had long expected Jiaonan's blessings to be in her later years and that Zai Sheng was her destined partner. It was just that they didn't have the chance to be together until they reached Jiaonan's current age, which was why she thought of ways to hold Jiaonan back. However, no one, including Ding Jiyi, would believe Qiao Zijin's words. Qiao Zijin's original intention was to hope that Jiaonan would never lead a good life in this lifetime. Who would have thought that her persecution of Jiaonan helped her become the chief's wife today? In the face of such a situation, Qiao Zijin was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. She wanted to harm Jiaonan. Who knew that she had helped Jiaonan, causing her to become someone that she couldn't bully easily because of her changed status? Her tactics didn't work on Ding Jiyi anymore either, and they even became distant. Qiao Zijin had never mentioned the sadness and distress faced from these matters to anyone. She didn't dare to think about it. She was afraid that if she did, she would be angered to death. Really, Qiao Zijin didn't lead a good life in the Qiao family every day, as she had to face Ding Jiyi all the time and even listen to her nagging and endure the dirty looks she gave her at times. She was already trying her best not to think about these things. Who knew that Chen Jun contracted AIDS and couldn't live anymore, and Father Chen and Mother Chen were old and couldn't take care of Chen Feng? They had no choice but to look for her and beg her to take care of Chen Feng. Who knew that Father Chen and Mother Chen dared to look at her with a look of regret that Chen Jun had married her and not Jiaonan back then? Qiao Zijin, who was so angry with her ex-parents-in-law, wanted to say that if she wasn't the one who gave birth to Chen Feng, she would have scolded these two elders and mocked them for not knowing how to teach and manage their son such that Chen Jun contracted such a disease. They should send off their own child. This was their retribution. No matter how angry Qiao Zijin was in her heart and how much she hated Jiaonan, who was still ruining her happy life until now, it wasn't convenient for Qiao Zijin to say anything bluntly in front of Father Chen and Mother Chen, aside from giving uglier expressions. Until now, Chen Jun only had one child, Chen Feng. Father Chen's and Mother Chen's attitudes were very important as they determined how much Chen Feng could take away from the Chen family. She couldn't cause her son to lose the money and inheritance that should have belonged to him just because she wanted to vent her frustrations. Qiao Zijin kept telling herself that nothing was more important than her son, Chen Feng. Chen Jun probably couldn't live much longer. Irresponsible parents like them would just cry themselves to death soon. Knowing that these two elders were about to suffer retribution soon, how was Qiao Zijin willing to make her own image in her son's heart worse by scolding Father Chen and Mother Chen? It wasn't worthwhile. However, the Chen family also knew that Qiao Zijin still had a bit of sincerity toward Chen Feng, her son. That was why they dared to hand Chen Feng over to Qiao Zijin now. All right, I understand. I don't want to hear about other matters. I've heard enough. Can I bring Feng Feng away now? Also, you have to help me take care of Feng Feng's procedures for transferring school. You know about my family situation. You have to take care of this. Qiao Zijin was lazy. They could give her son to her. Anyway, he was her biological son. However, for troublesome matters such as her son transferring to another school, Qiao Zijin didn't want to get involved. The Chen family snatched her son away from her. When she got a divorce, they even made her promise not to see her son again. Now, they were just handing her son over to her whenever they liked. Sorry, but she wasn't going to cooperate and take care of the troublesome matters. Qiao Zijin created a lot of trouble for others. However, she didn't accept people creating trouble for her. Okay. Father Chen looked tired. He knew precisely what kind of person Qiao Zijin was. As such, when he heard Qiao Zijin's words, he wasn't surprised at all. He just felt heartache for his grandson. His grandson was the only person he was worried about now. Of course, Qiao Zijin wouldn't hurt Chen Feng. However, Father Chen was skeptical of how much of a good influence she would be to Chen Feng and how much care and concern she would shower him with. Without a doubt, Father Chen liked his grandson, Chen Feng. Not only did he inherit the Chen family's looks, but he was also clever since young. He scored good grades in school and was very filial to the elders. However, between Qiao Zijin and Qiao Nan, Father Chen's choice was always Qiao Nan. Especially when he knew that Chen Jun got into trouble after playing with women outside, Father Chen regretted it countless times. Why did he agree to let Chen Jun marry Qiao Zijin in the first place? Back then, Qiao Nan was so good-tempered. Chen Jun's attitude of admitting his mistake could have been clearer. He could also promise not to have any indecent relationship with Qiao Zijin in the future anymore. After persuading Qiao Nan, they could give Qiao Zijin a little money at most, be her matchmaker, and marry her off far away. This matter could be resolved easily. If Qiao Nan was willing to raise Chen Feng up and educate him well, Father Chen felt that it was possible for Chen Feng to address Qiao Nan as mother even though Qiao Zijin had given birth to him. The most important was Chen Jun himself. If he had a change of heart and suppressed the Qiao family, it would have been easy to discuss things with Qiao Nan. That way, he would have Chen Feng as a grandson and Qiao Nan as his good daughter-in-law. When Qiao Nan helped them give birth to another granddaughter, no family among the people he knew could lead a better life than their family. Also, perhaps his attitude as a father should have been more proactive and cooperative when Chen Jun wanted to reconcile with Qiao Nan after his divorce with Qiao Zijin. He shouldn't have let Chen Jun go alone. The two of them should have brought Feng Feng along and gone together as well. Only then could they prove their family's sincerity to Qiao Nan. Chapter 2412, Second Reincarnation, 2. Who knows? Maybe Qiao Nan would feel bad for them and agree. If Qiao Nan were married to Chen Jun, there was no way that Chen Jun would end up in such a situation. Also, they wouldn't have to worry about Feng Feng's upbringing if Qiao Nan were the one taking care of him. Even if Chen Jun were to pass away, the elders could entrust Qiao Nan with Feng Feng when they left this world. However, Qiao Zijin wasn't someone nearly as reliable. Although the elders were still alive and well, they couldn't help but worry about putting Chen Feng in Qiao Zijin's hand. If it weren't for Chen Jun's illness and their old age, there was no way the elders would contact Qiao Zijin and send their grandson away. However, it couldn't be helped that they no longer had the energy to take care of both Chen Jun and Chen Feng. Chen Jun's father felt his heartache and frustration. Fine, I will settle Feng Feng's school transfer. He has been busy with his studies, so it wouldn't be good for him to miss school. You should head back, for now. Come and get Feng Feng after I settle the papers. It would be good for Feng Feng to leave a little later. He had to tell Feng Feng what Qiao Zijin was like so that he could be mentally prepared for what's to come. Soon, Chen Feng will be the only one left in the Chen family, and the elders wouldn't allow Feng Feng to be ruined in Qiao Zijin's hands. Qiao Zijin wasn't too happy to hear that. Why did she have to go through the trouble coming here if she couldn't take her son with her? By the way, are there many people that know about Chen Jun's condition? Will Feng Feng be bullied in school? Qiao Zijin knew that such a disease had the tendency to attract discrimination. If Chen Jun's conditions got out, Chen Feng would definitely receive unwanted attention. Not many. That was the only reason the elders decided to let Chen Feng go. Chen Jun's father was worried that Chen Jun's condition would leave trauma in Chen Feng's childhood. There was no cure for the disease. If he were the only son in the family, the elders would stay away from him as well. When they first heard about the condition, the elders were shocked to their cores. They were afraid. It took months for Chen Jun to confirm his condition, during which the elders lived together with him. Who knows? What if the disease had passed on to them or their grandson? Chen Jun was a politician, and the nature of his job meant that he would never return to his position again. After all, his illness could not be cured, so his affairs would eventually be revealed. The Chen family was told that the disease was only transmitted by blood. Luckily for them, it wasn't summer, so there weren't many mosquitoes. Otherwise, the entire Chen family might have been infected. At this point, there was nothing that Elder Chen could do. Although he preferred Jiao Nan, he wasn't shameless enough to ask Jiao Nan for help. It was Chen Jun that betrayed Jiao Zijin, and Chen Feng wasn't Jiao Nan's son. While Jiao Zijin was well alive, there was no reason to leave Chen Feng with Jiao Nan, who was already married. Despite knowing that she was the elder's last choice, Jiao Zijin suppressed her anger for the sake of her son. When Jiao Zijin went to fetch Chen Feng, she still refused to meet Chen Jun. Seeing Chen Feng's silence, Jiao Zijin couldn't help but ask, "Are you sure that you are not infected?" Everyone knew that AIDS was infectious. If Chen Feng weren't her son, Jiao Zijin wouldn't meet anyone from the Chen family right now. Chen Feng lived under the same roof with Chen Jun for a while, and Jiao Zijin wasn't sure if he was infected. Chen Feng's expression changed for a moment. Since his father was diagnosed, he had heard worse things than this. However, he didn't expect to hear such a question from his mother. "Yes, I have done all the necessary checkups. My dad had never come back home after there was suspicion around his infection." After his parents' divorce, Chen Feng clearly remembered his grandma complaining that Chen Jun had given up on his family. All Chen Jun did was mess around with other women, and those women were bound to bring him down one day. Who would have known that that day would come so quickly? "That's good." Jiao Zijin let out a sigh of relief. "Do you remember your auntie?" "Yes." Compared to his biological mother, Jiao Nan felt like a real family member to Chen Feng. He knew who brought him up. "Your aunt is doing well in the capital and her husband is a chief. Do you want to join the army? Should I send you to your aunt?" Jiao Zijin didn't want to take care of the child, and it was too much work to go through the college entrance examination with him. However, she knew that Jiao Nan was capable to do that. Her son wouldn't benefit from her, but he could surely learn a lot from Jiao Nan and Zai Sheng. Who knows? She might become the mother of a chief one day. Chen Feng was glad that his grandparents told him all about his family matters before leaving him with Jiao Zijin. Otherwise, he might grow up to become someone just like his mother. The elders used to keep Chen Feng out of the drama, but Chen Feng was already old enough to have his own judgments. He remembered how nice his aunt was to him and how horribly his mother treated her. He also knew about that scary-looking grandma that was awful to Jiao Nan. After hearing about the history between them, Chen Feng knew that his mother had done nasty things to his aunt. Chapter 2413, Second Reincarnation, 3. When he was still a kid, his mother tossed him to his aunt. Now that he was in high school, his mother was still unwilling to look after him. All she wanted was to send him away. She wanted to let someone else raise her son. That was when Chen Feng finally believed everything his grandparents had told him. This selfish woman was who his mother really was. "Monday, don't worry about me. I will be staying in the dorms, and I can go back to the Chen family during the holidays. I'm old enough to take care of myself." At first, the Chen family sold almost all their properties when they left Pingcheng. However, the property prices were on the rise, so Chen Jun decided to buy a house in Pingcheng 3 years ago. Everything was under Chen Feng's name, of course. It was a financial safety net for Chen Feng in case Jiao Zijin wouldn't give him any money. If Jiao Zijin were still the same as before, then she would be running away from her responsibilities of taking care of her son. What to do then? Chen Feng had to have a guardian before he reached adulthood. So all Jiao Zijin had to do was act as a guardian, and the Chen family would take care of everything else. Army? Chen Feng wasn't sure when he was young, but now, he was certain that he wasn't interested in the military. When he was in secondary school, Chen Feng had thought about studying abroad. The reason that Chen Jun worked so hard to save up was to put more assets under Chen Feng's name in case anything unprecedented happened. If it weren't for his grandparents and sick father, Chen Feng would have left to study abroad a long time ago. After all, the local college entrance examination was too competitive. The elders didn't have many days left, and Chen Jun was ill. No one knew who would be the first to leave this world. There was no way that Chen Feng could leave in this situation. The Chen family sent Chen Feng to Jiao Zijin as a form of protection as well. It was better to stay away from the possibility of being infected by such a dangerous disease. The elders felt that it wouldn't matter if they were infected as they didn't have much time left anyway. However, Chen Feng had a bright future ahead of him. If he were infected, his entire life would be destroyed. Chen Feng had his own plans, and the Chen family was willing to support him. Needless to say, the money needed for Chen Feng's future was already prepared for him. However, the elders obviously would not entrust Jiao Zijin with the money. The money was for Chen Feng's studies, and the elders had reminded Chen Feng to keep it a secret from Jiao Zijin until he was about to leave. Chen Feng had no reason to let Jiao Zijin know how much money the Chen family had left him with. He had survived the days when he needed his mom the most. Now that he was older, he had no need to ask Jiao Zijin for help anymore. Chen Feng firmly believed that his grandparents would never lie to him. Even if his mother were nice to her, it was insufficient for him to have a good impression of her. Does the Chen family still have a house in Pingcheng? Is it a big house? It must be inconvenient to live alone. Should I move in? I can cook a meal for you when you are back from school. Living in a big house had become Jiao Zijin's obsession. She used to be the owner of one, but it had been years since she lived in one. She was Chen Feng's mother, and she was a part of the Chen family in the past. Now that she had to take care of Chen Feng, she saw no problem with her moving into his house. Feng, don't see me as an outsider. I'm not doing this to take advantage of you. I haven't remarried since the divorce because I didn't want you to have a stepfather. Unlike your dad, I've been living with my mom all this while. You know your father's condition very well. I don't mind living with you since I am your mother, but I'm not too sure about my mother. Jiao Zijin had not told Ding Jiyi about Chen Jun's condition. She took Chen Feng in because the elders had no time to look after their grandson. Knowing how selfish Ding Jiyi was, she would probably stop Chen Feng from entering the house. This morning, Jiao Zijin was still thinking about how to hide it from Ding Jiyi so that Chen Feng could live a normal life. Now that she knew that Chen Feng had a house in Pingcheng, everything was solved. The house that the Chen family prepared for Chen Feng was definitely better than the old house. She was just getting sick of the quad, and she was tired of quarreling with Ding Jiyi day and night. It would be great if she could move out and live with her son. By the way, did the Chen family give you all their money? How much money do you have? Did anyone in the Chen family bully you? Do you really not have a younger sibling after your dad married that woman? Jiao Zijin found it hard to believe that someone like Chen Jun only had one child. Chen Feng's face sank. I'm not sure how much money I have, but it should be enough for me. My dad did marry again, but I am the only child in the family. Chen Feng didn't like talking about this. Mom, I understand your concerns. You can move in if you want to live with me. However, who's going to take care of the elders after you leave? Everyone knew that Jiao Zijin was still single. Chapter 2414, Bring Along the Triplets, 1. Even if Jiao Zijin was Chen Feng's biological mother, how would Father Chen and Mother Chen dare to hand their grandson over to their ex-daughter-in-law if they didn't know about her current situation? It was precisely because Jiao Zijin was still single after her divorce, didn't have a messy boyfriend, and had a purer heart and fewer desires than when she was married to Chen Jun did the Chen family decide to call Jiao Zijin. If Jiao Zijin had a man and a child by her side, even if the Chen family could no longer take care of Chen Feng, it would have been impossible for them to consider Jiao Zijin, lest Chen Feng got bullied and became the second Jiao Nan. Of course, Father Chen and Mother Chen didn't share these thoughts with Chen Feng. The problem Chen Feng was considering now was the Chen family's situation. Indeed, it wasn't too convenient if he followed his mom to live in the Jiao family. He didn't want that grandma, whom he almost couldn't remember her looks, to look at him like he was a mobile AIDS carrier. Rather than being treated like a monster, he'd rather return to his grandparents' side. Jiao Zijin was a little dissatisfied that her son didn't answer her question of how much money he had. Don't worry about your grandma. She's healthy and doesn't need me to take care of her at all. Who knows? Once she left and nobody angered her mom anymore, her mom's health might actually be better than when she was with her. Regarding this aspect, Jiao Zijin still had some self-awareness. Furthermore, Chen Feng was her son. She knew that the person with AIDS was Chen Jun, not Chen Feng. This matter had nothing to do with Chen Feng. As such, she was willing to stay with Chen Feng and not discriminate against him. If this were to happen to the selfish Ding Ji, could she do this? If she stayed with Chen Feng, and Ding Ji found out about Chen Jun's situation, Ding Ji would be afraid of Chen Feng and her, who had been in contact with Chen Feng. Forget it. It's better that Ding Ji didn't know about this. If she knew, she would definitely shamelessly ask for a sum of money from Jiao Nan and move out of the Jiao family's courtyard, for fear of being infected or death. Jiao Zijin didn't want to be treated like an infectious disease by Ding Ji. She was also a person with self-esteem, all right? Also, she needed to take care of her son's feelings. In short, if she was willing to move out of the Jiao family's courtyard and let Ding Ji regain freedom, Ding Ji would definitely be so happy that she would set off a string of firecrackers to celebrate. It was just that as Chen Jun's mother, Jiao Zijin couldn't analyze and share the messy relationship she had with Ding Ji to Chen Feng, lest he was led astray. Being led astray was two-way. She didn't want Chen Feng to be under the bad influence of Ding Ji, like her. She also wasn't willing for Chen Feng to treat her, the biological mother, in a similar attitude in the future after seeing her performance. Jiao Zijin thought that Chen Feng didn't know about this. Although Chen Feng wasn't completely clear about this, he wasn't totally ignorant. However, seeing that Jiao Zijin wasn't willing to mention anything further, Chen Feng pretended that he really didn't know about it and didn't ask further. The mother-son pair finally returned to Pingcheng. Chen Feng expressed that he almost couldn't recognize this place, which was where he had grown up. Chen Feng's health wasn't a problem. Also, in terms of school transfers, it wasn't a requirement for them to produce medical reports so that he could be enrolled. Chen Feng and Jiao Zijin weren't fools. After knowing that this society had negative perceptions about AIDS, they weren't going to explain to the school that Chen Feng's father contracted AIDS but pretend that he was healthy instead. If they didn't believe it, they had the doctor's certificate and medical reports to prove it. If they really said so, even if Chen Feng was indeed healthy, the school generally wouldn't accept such students. A school was a public place. Many parents handed their children over to the school to manage as they trusted the school. Even if the teachers weren't worried if anything would happen to them, they had to be worried if the other students in the school would be affected. They couldn't possibly risk the safety of the entire school's teachers and students just to accept a student. For a troublesome matter like this, it was best to avoid it wherever possible. As such, regarding the fact that Chen Jun contracted AIDS and was treated in isolation, the mother-son pair maintained a tacit understanding and didn't mention a word about it. The school asked about Chen Feng's good grades and the fact that he just started high school. The 3 years of high school were critical. If there were no major problems with the student's academic performance or no special reasons, the teachers would definitely not advise the student to transfer schools at this juncture. That would mean that the student had to leave a familiar environment, adapt to a new place, and get used to the new school. Based on the superficial information, the school really couldn't tell why Chen Feng insisted on transferring schools at this juncture. Seeing that the school insisted on asking so many questions, Xiao Zijin had no choice but to answer them. I have long divorced the child's father. Before the divorce, we've discussed that for the sake of our child's future, he would belong to whomever had better living conditions. When we got a divorce, my ex-husband's conditions were better than mine. Now, my conditions are better than his, thus I asked for my son back. Everything we did was for the child. You. The school didn't understand. Looking at this child's mother, she didn't seem like a formidable character. Yet, her living conditions improved? Apologies, but he really couldn't tell. In the process of deciding to accept a student, the school generally looked at the student's capabilities and if their grades could meet the school's requirements. They generally didn't consider the situation of the child's parents or family. However, Xiao Zijin wanted to mention her own family situation to the teacher. The teacher felt that it wasn't a big deal to want to find out a little more. Xiao Zijin was also a hopeless person who acted recklessly. She stated clearly that she was unemployed and there was nothing much to deceive others about it. My situation is average, but my son has an outstanding biological aunt. Do you know that in our Pingcheng, there's a very formidable Zai family? The Zai family has been the chief for many generations. Yes, I know about them. Only a fool wouldn't know. The Zai family was the pride of their Pingcheng. They were the most formidable characters in Pingcheng. Even if the situation of the Zai family wasn't widely publicized, a native from Pingcheng would basically know about the Zai family. Great that you know. My younger sister married Zai Sheng and became the Zai family's daughter-in-law. She even gave birth to 2 sons and a daughter for them. Both my ex-husband and I feel that based on my current situation, our son would have better development opportunities if he lives with me. Chapter 2415, Bring Along the Triplets, 2. As such, I fetched my son back. After the divorce, I didn't remarry. My ex-husband got married. It was just that within 3 years, he got a divorce again. Their marriage was shorter than the time she was married to Chen Jun. The teacher was shocked. For a while, he didn't dare to confirm if Xiao Zijin was speaking the truth. Even if what Xiao Zijin mentioned tallied with the Zai family's situation, the problem was this was something everyone knew about. If one cared more about the pride of Pingcheng, it wasn't difficult for them to talk about the Zai family's situation like it was their family's situation. Yes, all right. We understand the reason why you wanted the child to transfer schools. The child's results aren't bad. He can attend our school. You can go through the enrollment procedures today. Also, my suggestion is for the child to attend lessons today. Every minute and second of a high student is very valuable. We can't afford to waste it. Sure. She had finally settled Chen Feng's school transfer. Xiao Zijin didn't think if the teacher believed her words or not, or if she was just bragging. A part of what she said just now was indeed false. However, Xiao Nan's situation was completely real. However, on the whole, there was more false than true in her words. Her words weren't completely true. As long as the teacher didn't refuse to accept Chen Feng as a student, Xiao Zijin wouldn't fall out with the teacher if he didn't completely believe her words, let alone if he just half believed in them. As such, Xiao Zijin didn't react negatively toward the teacher's attitude at all. To be honest, the teacher didn't believe it. He thought that the child's parent would be unhappy after seeing his reaction and would fall out with him. Who knew that the situation was peaceful? Initially, He didn't believe Jiao Zijin's words. However, Jiao Zijin's calm look and her expression spelled the truth is the truth. It's up to you to believe it or not. The teacher hesitated. Thankfully, this teacher's thoughts were quickly appeased by his colleague. They were an ordinary high school that wanted to accept a transfer student now. Under normal circumstances, the school wouldn't advise students in high school to transfer schools. However, this wasn't something absolute. Furthermore, this child named Chen Feng wouldn't be the first student they accepted under such circumstances. Neither would he be the last. It was acceptable as long as the procedures were normal and the student's academic performance was up to standard. Who cared if the child's aunt was the chief's wife or the wife of a more formidable leader? It didn't have any relation with their school at all. They only had to display a normal attitude towards students. No matter what kind of relatives this student had, they would just be teachers. Nothing would happen. Upon hearing such words of consolation, the teacher thought carefully. Indeed, this was the situation. After letting go of the stress in his heart, the teacher's mood relaxed and he looked at Chen Feng with a more peaceful gaze. There weren't a lot of transfer students under such circumstances. As such, when Jiao Zijin was settling the admission procedures, she was alone. There were no other parents present. After handing over the money and settling the admission procedures, Chen Feng was considered an official student of this school and he attended lessons on that day itself. Once Chen Feng's admission procedures were completed, Jiao Zijin no longer cared if he adapted to the environment well or not. After getting the keys to the new house that the Chen family bought in Pingcheng from Chen Feng, she couldn't wait to see her living environment in the future after settling her son's affairs. After seeing that the house Chen Jun bought for Chen Feng was approximately 200 square meters and that it was well decorated in advance, Jiao Zijin was extremely satisfied. She opened the door to find that there was only the smell of wood and no smell of paint. A few years ago, the house that she sold was smaller than this and it wasn't as well furnished. In the past, Jiao Zijin felt that even if she had gotten a divorce, she was still Chen Feng's mother. She had uremia and needed a large sum of money to do a kidney transplant. If the Chen family really cared about Chen Feng, they would have helped her then by giving her a sum of money so that she could treat her illness. If she wasn't treated well, she could have died. After her death, Chen Feng would become a motherless child. The Chen family was really black-hearted. They'd rather Chen Feng become a motherless child than fork out money to save her life. From the day she married Chen Jun to the divorce today, Jiao Zijin knew that the Chen family had never really accepted her or liked her. Jiao Zijin also knew how guarded the Chen family was against her. When she was married to Chen Jun, she couldn't access the large amount of money. However, Chen Jun still had to give her monthly living expenses which were the equivalent of an ordinary worker's monthly salary. Now, the person who eventually moved into Chen Jun's house and enjoyed all the blessings was herself. If the Chen family was capable, they could continue to ostracize her, pick on her, and not let her spend the Chen family's money, just like before. After patrolling her own territory like a queen, Jiao Zijin firmly occupied the real leather sofa in the living room with haughty airs. That arrogant look was so detestable that people couldn't help but want to chase her out of this house. It was a pity that the more Jiao Zijin knew that the Chen family couldn't stand her looks, the more she wanted to do so. That was because she knew that the Chen family could no longer control her. No matter how unpleasing to the eye they found her to be, they had to hold it in. Chen Jun's illness provided Jiao Zijin a new lease on life. Some people were uncomfortable about this, while others didn't care. Naturally, the person who cared the least was Jiao Nan. There was another target for Jiao Zijin to exploit and take advantage of. From then on, Jiao Nan was no longer the only object of Jiao Zijin's provocation. In this way, Jiao Nan's life would be much easier in the future. Brothers, I want to make a trip back to Pingcheng. Do you want to come along? After knowing that Zai Sheng had time recently, didn't need to return to the army, and even started to delegate his work to others, as if he wanted to start his retirement early, Xiaonan naturally wanted to bring him along for any plans she had made. Zai Sheng's willingness to shift his focus from work to family undoubtedly meant that he valued family interaction. Zai Sheng had such determination. Xiaonan felt that for someone as idle as herself, she should think of ways to adjust the relationship between family and career better. If their timings as a couple couldn't match, they would burden their children as they would have less time to spend with their parents at the same time. Chapter 2416, Bring Along the Triplets, 3. Is the school built? He knew that Xiaonan couldn't stop once she started on something. Of course, they had relied on the inheritance left behind by the Zhu family to hire someone to help Xiaonan manage the finances properly. Xiaonan had obviously spent a sum of money so huge that ordinary people couldn't earn in several lifetimes in a short span of 3 years on the project pertaining to the family left behind by revolutionary martyrs and widowed elders. Who knew that while doing a good deed, she met a reliable asset manager. He had pretty much helped her earn back the money that she had spent. Even if there was a loss, it was little. With such a reliable asset manager around, Xiaonan became lawless. She went to do whatever she thought of and didn't control herself at all. Xiaonan summarized the regrets she had in this lifetime. There were 3. Number 1, although old people like Zhu Qinqi and Lin Yuankong had wealth that made everyone envious, they didn't have any relatives to take care of them. Even when they died, they were lonely. In response to this, Xiaonan had long taken action. The results obtained thus far were quite good. Number 2, she didn't have good relationships with her parents. In response to this, Xiaonan felt that the only way out was to change her parents and had nothing to do with Jiao Dongliang and Ding Ji. Otherwise, even if she were to reborn 100 or 1,000 times, she would still be unable to change this situation. Xiao Zijin's existence proved this point well. It wasn't that Jiao Dongliang and Ding Ji didn't know how to treat their child well or dote on and protect their child. It was because she wasn't their target that she didn't receive such treatment. Xiao Zijin was the targeted daughter. Since young, Xiao Zijin had led such a pampered life. After thinking about this, Xiaonan expressed that she'd rather reincarnate and change the 2 people who had given birth to her. Who knows? She might have the chance to grow up under the care of normal parents. Number 3, she had quit school after being forced by Ding Ji and under Xiao Zijin's scheming plan. In her dreams, she persevered and didn't leave any regrets. However, after returning to reality, this regret still existed. Even if she had studied in adult school and successfully graduated with decent grades, there was always a pain in her heart. She just wanted to walk the path of a normal person. Why was it so difficult after having parents like Xiao Dongliang and Ding Ji? Xiaonan's life situation couldn't be changed anymore. She hoped that other children would have the chance to change their situations and not be like her. As such, after finishing the work on the nursing home, Xiaonan donated supplies to schools in the poor mountainous areas. Xiaonan discussed with others how much she should donate and what she should donate after inspecting the situation. Regardless of if Xiaonan was overthinking or not, compared to donating money, Xiaonan preferred to buy some in-kind items for the children. She was different from others. Who asked her to be free? She had a lot of leisure time. Xiaonan was setting off this time as she wanted to fund her first primary school. She heard that this school only had 36 students. The problem was that these 36 students were all left behind children. Aside from children, they only had elderly people in their homes. The parents who went out to work only returned home once a year. The elders at home didn't have much money or food. As such, it was a very difficult thing for the old and the young to lead a good life. Of course, until now, the information she had on this school was only hearsay. She decided to take a look for herself before proposing a detailed plan. As such, Zai Sheng had time to stay at home and be with his wife and children. However, Xiaonan didn't have time as she had to return to Pingcheng and take a look at that school's situation herself. In order to avoid causing Zai Sheng dissatisfaction, Xiaonan enthusiastically invited Zai Sheng to participate in this activity of hers. "Brother Zai, shall we bring along the triplets as well? It can be considered a family trip." Zai Sheng wasn't as busy as in her dreams. However, he didn't spend much time with the three children. Even if Zai Sheng had time, he mostly stayed at home to accompany the three children. He didn't have many opportunities to bring them out for a walk. Xiaonan felt that they could take advantage of this opportunity. As she worked, it could also be considered a family trip. Xiaonan went there to work. If she really brought along the three children and Zai Sheng, one could imagine that when Xiaonan was busy, Zai Sheng had to take care of the three children. Xiaonan was also thinking of ways so that Zai Sheng could have more time interacting with the three children. When they were with him, it was like a cockfight where nobody would give in. Xiaonan didn't understand. Could it be that absence made the heart grow fonder? In her dream, Zai Sheng had few opportunities to accompany the three children. However, their attitude toward Zai Sheng was great. Whenever Zai Sheng was at home, they would only want to cling to him. However, in reality, the three children weren't as affectionate to their father. They even liked to go against him. It was also because of these differences in reality that Xiaonan started to be clearer about the differences between her dream and reality. How would Zai Sheng not understand Xiaonan's intention? Zai Sheng knew how the three children were often going against him. However, he didn't mind. He had walked this path before as well. There were times when he and Zai Hua found Zai Yaowai, their biological father, to be unpleasing to the eye. This even lasted until they became adults. Compared to them back then, the three children's attitudes could be considered to be much better. As such, Zai Sheng didn't feel that his relationship with the three children wasn't good enough and that they needed a family trip to improve the relationship. However, this was Xiaonan's good intentions, after all. Zai Sheng did intend to accompany Xiaonan. As for bringing along the three children, it was completely incidental. It was good to expose the three children so that they understood how blessed they were. They had to cherish their good fortune and not bicker with him so often. Compared to other fathers, Zai Sheng felt that he was pretty good and successful as a father. There was no harm if there was no comparison. The triplets didn't know how other fathers were, which was why they often went against him. As a father, he was magnanimous and wasn't calculative with the three children. However, Zai Sheng felt that it was a pretty good idea to let the three children understand different styles. Chapter 2417, Bringing Them Along, 1. After the three children compared and knew how good he was as a father, he believed that they would definitely reduce the number of times they went against him. He didn't have high expectations. It was enough if they could achieve this. Then, go and apply leave for the three children from school. "I'm busy," Xiaonan said decisively. With Zai Sheng's company, Xiaonan got him to handle all the trivial matters, including the ones that pertained to the three children. "Are you really bringing the triplets along?" Upon hearing that Zai Sheng was going on a family trip, Miaojing was envious. "Old Zai, shall we go along as well?" She was already missing the three children a lot when they were at the early learning center. She had lesser time to see the children in the day. However, she could at least accompany them when they were back at night. If the three children were to accompany their parents for the trip, she wouldn't be able to see them for a long period of time. Just the thought alone made Miaojing feel extremely uncomfortable when they hadn't even left yet. Thoughts about the three children flooded her mind. Zai Yaowai sighed. "Why aren't you willing to admit that you're old? If our bodies allow it, do you think Xiaonan wouldn't have suggested bringing us along?" Zai Yaowai could understand Xiaonan. Although they were always ambitious and wanted to take care of their grandchildren, in reality, their bodies didn't allow that much. Take playing with the three children for instance. They were already tired from bending their backs for less than a minute. When it came to squatting, it was really difficult for them and their old bones. It was precisely because of this that Zai Yaowai knew Jiaonan had secretly taught the three children not to play with their grandparents or request hugs from them as they weren't in good health. Their grandpa and grandma weren't feeling well. When the triplets grew up, they were big children and should take care of them instead. Under Jiaonan's teachings, the three children were obedient. Even if they were tired from walking during the rare times that Miaojing and Zai Yaowai brought them out for walks, they'd rather sit on the grass for a while than request their grandparents to carry them home. When he saw his grandchildren being so obedient when they had not yet reached the age of 2, Zai Yaowai couldn't help but feel sad at times. His body was obviously so strong when he was young. Why was it that he didn't even have the energy to carry his grandchildren when he was old? Jiaonan had already taken care of them to this extent when they were at home. How would Jiaonan dare to bring them along on a plane and run around? Furthermore, the situation of the school that Jiaonan was inspecting was poor. Needless to ask, the physical environment and living conditions must be equally poor. What if they had to climb mountains? That was really going to take their lives. However, if there was a chance to relax and do sightseeing, Jiaonan wouldn't leave the two of them behind, lest they felt lonely. As long as she didn't arrange for them to go to places with a poor environment, wouldn't that do? Jiaonan expressed that this wasn't doable. Based on Zai Yaowai's contributions to the country, it was necessary to send 2 soldiers to take care of and protect him when he was out. Let her bring the 2 elders out and leave them behind halfway? It was fine if nothing happened. If any accidents happened, not to mention if Zai Hua and Zai Sheng would blame her, but even Jiaonan wouldn't be able to forgive herself. With the 2 elders in the capital, there was an aunt to take care of them at home and there were so many familiar neighbors around. No matter what happened to Zai Yaowai and Miaojing, someone would keep watch on them. They could even receive the best treatment in the capital. Even if these people couldn't compare to Jiaonan and Zai Sheng when it came to their concern for Zai Yaowai and Miaojing, they wouldn't be much worse. Because of this situation, Jiaonan naturally preferred to leave the 2 elders at home so that they were safe than to bring them along. It would be too late for regrets if anything happened to them. Zai Yaowai acknowledged Jiaonan's worries and considerations. In reality, for the past few years, Zai Yaowai and Miaojing had been delegating their powers to Zai Sheng and Jiaonan to manage this family. Zai Yaowai had never refuted Jiaonan's arrangement. He only gave her silent support and affirmation. It was proven that Jiaonan managed this family exceptionally well and didn't disappoint their trust in her. Zai Yaowai was supportive of Jiaonan's arrangement this time as well. Knowing that his wife was reluctant to leave the 3 children, Zai Yaowai helped Jiaonan do the thinking for Miaojing. Zai Hua and Zai Sheng were already the best examples. No matter how good their grandparents were, they couldn't compare to their biological parents. To let the 3 children stay by Zai Sheng's side would be beneficial to their growth and development. Pampering them too much would lead to their failure. Miaojing liked the 3 children so much. She wouldn't be willing to see that her love for them harmed them instead, right? Based on this point alone, Jiaonan, who became a mother of 3 at the age of 40, obviously did a better job than Miaojing. The triplets were the grandchildren Miaojing yearned for more than 20 years. They were also the children Jiaonan yearned for more than 10 years. Jiaonan would only feel worse heartache than Miaojing as the triplets were 3 pieces of meat that fell from her body. Even if that was the case, Jiaonan was never soft-hearted. She could harden her heart and teach them when they were supposed to be taught and be fierce when she was supposed to be fierce. It was only because Jiaonan was willing that she sent the 3 children to the early learning center. Otherwise, their children would probably be the only ones in the area who still stayed at home and played with the elders at this age. Such a situation wasn't conducive to the children's growth. It would even make the children be out of touch with society and times. After understanding this point, no matter how uncomfortable Miaojing felt, Zai Yaowai could only explain to her time and time again to help her overcome her psychological barriers and nod in agreement. To be honest, Zai Yaowai, Jiaonan's father-in-law, had the most credit as he helped Jiaonan the most and allowed her decisions to be realized one by one. After knowing this situation, Jiaonan felt extremely blessed. Her mother-in-law wasn't unruly and her father-in-law was more reasonable than her husband. Living in such a family, it was really all thanks to her physique that didn't grow fat that she didn't gain 10 pounds. Otherwise, she would definitely become heavier. Didn't we talk about this previously? Why are you feeling reluctant again? Even if Jiaonan lets the 3 children stay here, we don't have the ability to take care of them. Chapter 2418, Bringing Them Along, 2. You know how much the triplets cling to Jiaonan. If they don't see Jiaonan before sleeping and start to cry, I can't coax them. Being clingy to their biological mother and wanting her to coax them personally when they were sleeping was a problem that any other child had. The Zai family's triplets had this same problem as well. Because of the triplets' habits, Miaojing could only compromise. Who asked her to not bear the 3 children crying? All right, I understand. I still remember what I promised. I was just saying. She only said these capricious words upon thinking that she wouldn't be able to see the children when they were away and would feel as uncomfortable as having a piece of flesh cut off. If they really allowed her to do so, she wouldn't be willing. Upon hearing Miaojing's obvious guilty conscience, Zai Yaowai didn't expose her, lest she felt embarrassed and became angry. By then, he would have to coax her. Rather than trying to make his wife happy afterward, it was better to pay more attention at the beginning so that she wouldn't become angry. Yes, you don't mean it that way. Our Meow Meow is a great grandma. How would she stand in the way of anything that's good for the 3 children? No wonder the 3 children are close to you but not me. In order to make his wife happy, Zai Yaowai almost treated her like a 3-year-old and started to coax her with mushy words. One had to know that even in front of the 3 grandchildren, Zai Yaowai never said anything in such a tone before. After hearing this conversation, the auntie, who was inexplicably treated to a public display of affection, silently returned to the kitchen, saying that it was time for her to wash the cooker hood and she was so busy. As such, she shouldn't go out until she finished all the chores and cleaned the kitchen. As the auntie of the Zai family, she wasn't fed with rice the most every day but public displays of affection. Forget it that Zai Yaowai and Miaojing did this from time to time. Zai Sheng and Qiaonan were even more exaggerated. It was to the extent that the auntie felt nauseous at times. She was obviously married and someone with a husband. She had long broken free from being single. Why was it that she, who was doing chores for the Zai family, was always force-fed with public displays of affection? After self-reflecting, she felt that the responsibility lied with her husband. If her husband were like the men of the Zai family who doted on and took care of their wives well, why would she feel that she was being fed with public displays of affection? One had to know that she was already married and was also qualified to show public displays of affection. The auntie's husband, who did nothing but was implicated, completely didn't know what he had done wrong to cause his wife to throw him dirty looks for a few days. In the end, there was no choice. He sought a solution from his son and bought presents 3 days in a row before managing to coax his wife. The auntie, who received the presents, secretly decided to throw tantrums once in a while so that her husband would take note of her. Look at how many presents her husband gave her after they got married. Once she started to ignore him, he gave her 3 presents at one go, which were more than what she had received in the past 5 years. Men were cheap. They had to be tormented for a while before knowing what was good for them. That said, Qiaonan could really do anything and yield twice the results by doing half the work with such a supportive father-in-law like Zai Yaowai. After making a decision, the auntie and Miaojing helped pack clothes for the triplets and prepared small luggage for each of them. Different from the children's small luggage, Qiaonan's and Zai Sheng's luggage had to be much bigger. Needless to say, the 2 adults' luggage contained the 3 children's items the most. Zai Sheng, you must take good care of the triplets and Nan Nan when you're outside. You can lose your life, but you have to bring Nan Nan and the 3 children back to me. understand? Before they left, Miao Jing couldn't help but tell Zai Sheng bluntly that he was the only person in the party who didn't need to return. As for Qiaonan and the 3 children, they had to be sent back home safely to her. Thankfully, Zai Sheng was no longer young and wouldn't be jealous or angry over Miao Jing's words. A man with a wife was different from the past. Zai Sheng cared more about Qiaonan's attitude. Did she also feel that it was fine to lose her husband but not her children? Qiaonan, who was watched by Zai Sheng, hurriedly expressed her loyalty and held his elbow tightly. "Mom, don't worry. No one will be gone from our family of 5. Brothers, I will help you take care of the triplets. I'll help you take care of your son." Oh, the triplets were young. Qiaonan felt that it was pretty normal that they threw tantrums from time to time and wanted her to coax them. Qiaonan felt that Zai Sheng, this old man, was the abnormal one. Why did his temper become more similar to San Bao's? Did the father-daughter pair discuss this beforehand? Speaking about this was also the biggest difference between her dream and reality. In her dream, Zai Sheng was obviously younger and had lesser experience in life. However, he was always a mature and stable man, supporting his wife and children. Of course, in reality, the close to 50-year-old Zai Sheng also did these things. What was different was that in reality, Zai Sheng was more childish. Sometimes, Qiaonan couldn't help but call Zai Sheng a childish ghost. Did he really assimilate with the 3 children after spending too much time with them? Zai Sheng didn't know Qiaonan's inner thoughts. However, he was very satisfied with Qiaonan's performance. "Don't worry. With me around, no one will be gone." Upon hearing Miao Jing's words, Zai Sheng felt speechless. Were the thoughts of old people so unreasonable? What kind of family was their Zai family? How would their 3 children be gone? "Mom, we'll get going then." She patted Zai Sheng's elbow and reminded him to have a better attitude toward Miao Jing. It was understandable that she was overthinking since she was nervous about her grandchildren and couldn't accompany them. Indeed, Brother Zai's level of tolerance for his parents was not as high as in her dreams. Qiaonan could understand Miao Jing's nervousness and naturally understand Zai Sheng's change. Zai Sheng married Chu Chenexai previously not for himself but for his parents. Even if Zai Sheng didn't like Chu Chenexai, which man would be willing to let his wife in name make a cuckold out of him? Chu Chenexai also had poor patience. Based on Qiaonan's understanding of Zai Sheng, Zai Yaowai and Miao Jing used almost 30 years for Zai Sheng to agree to get married to Chu Chenexai. As long as Chu Chenexai could tolerate it for 10 years, she might be pregnant with Zai Sheng's child. However, both of them fell out as Chu Chenexai had an affair. They couldn't maintain their husband-wife relationship and had to get a divorce. Thankfully, Qiaonan was no longer jealous about this. Chapter 2419, Bringing Them Along, 3. If Ding Ji hadn't stopped her and Xiao Zijin hadn't instigated this, she wouldn't have waited until she was 40 years old to meet Zai Sheng and marry him. If her family didn't object to it, Qiaonan felt that she would have gotten married if she met a man who was pleasing to the eye. This was the truth. It couldn't be denied. However, Qiaonan knew it clearly that if her life and Zai Sheng's life really turned out to be like this, their married lives would definitely not be as happy as they were now. The clearer she knew about this, the more nervous she felt and the more she cherished this. "All right, be careful on the road. Keep a close watch on the 3 children. Ever since they knew how to run, they could run very fast. Don't let them knock into something and get themselves bruised." This was what Miao Jing was worried about the most. When Miao Jing was at home, she would lose sight of a child in the blink of an eye. Then, this child that she lost sight of would have an additional bruise on his or her body. Miao Jing felt her heart ache. However, the child with the bruise didn't feel pain at all. He or she even continued to laugh and play without a phobia. "Mom, don't worry. I'll take note. If we really can't manage, I'll carry San Bao and let brothers I carry both De Bao and Er Bao at the same time. They could still distribute the children quite easily between the two. Yes, with you around, I feel at ease. You aren't Zai Sheng. You're much more meticulous and reliable than him. Miao Jing gave all the nice words to Jiao Nan and the children. Thankfully, Zai Sheng was long used to this and no longer minded it at this age. Miao Jing's preferential treatment made it seem like she had given birth to her daughter-in-law and picked up her son from somewhere. There might be a possibility that they would quarrel because of this. All right, it's running late. You might miss the plane if you're any later. Seeing his wife reminding them about this and that, Zai Yawai couldn't help but pull her back to his side. Their family of 5 is going to lead a happy life. If you really feel there's nothing to do, can you show me more care and concern? Yes, care about Grandpa more. De Bao, who had the best relationship with his grandpa, expressed that he was standing on his grandpa's side. Grandma, I'll hand Grandpa over to you. Upon hearing his eldest grandson's words, Zai Yawai was extremely happy. Indeed, the child that he had raised was different. De Bao was much closer to him than Zai Sheng. Look, even though De Bao wasn't speaking coherently, he was still doing this for his grandpa. Zai Yawai, who felt that he had raised his son for nothing, felt that he didn't waste his efforts in raising his grandson. Er Bao grabbed Miao Jing's hand and asked her to squat. Without saying a word, Miao Jing leaned closer to Er Bao and was kissed on the face by him. Grandma, be obedient at home. I'll be back soon to play with you. San Bao also hugged Miao Jing's thigh and patted her head, expressing her agreement with Er Bao's words. Be obedient. Listen to Grandpa. Miao Jing was speechless. To think that the person who said this was her little granddaughter. Had it been someone else, Miao Jing would have retaliated. Who should listen to whom? Zai Yawai, who had been quite successful in educating the 3 children, became smug. Yes, the 3 of you have to listen to your parents as well. When you're back, I'll have presents for you. He didn't dote on his grandchildren for nothing. His 3 grandchildren were really cuter than his son and daughter. No, he should say that his son and daughter couldn't be compared to his 3 grandchildren. After bidding farewell, Zai Sheng could finally take a car ride to the airport with his wife and children. The 3 children were young and decisive. Knowing that the small luggage belonged to them, they refused to let their parents help them and insisted on learning from their parents and ran forward. Zai Sheng and Qiaonan were not particularly accustomed to children. The purpose of the luggage was to let them use their hands. Thus, they generously agreed to their requests. People found it amusing to see 3 children carrying luggage which were as high as them and trotting forward. Whose children did they belong to? Why were they so cute? They seemed to have walked out from the TV. The 3 children were bold as well. Knowing that their parents were just behind them, they walked even faster than them. The 3 children stopped only because they felt tired that they had not reached their destination after stumbling for a long time. The airport was too big and they didn't know their directions. They sighed and said, "How tiring." The tired Er Bao's saliva overflowed. He was already pronouncing his words quite accurately. However, his pronunciation was off now. De Bao was more stable. He looked at his parents, who were walking slowly toward them without showing the way, with grievances. Where do we board the plane? He had already been running for such a long time. Why hadn't he seen the gate yet? Qiaonan smiled and gave De Bao a kiss on his face. You don't even know the way. Why are you running so quickly? I'm carrying a large suitcase and can't catch up with you. What if you lose me? Yes, her 3 children would lose her instead of her losing the 3 children. After coming out of the house, the 3 children were overly excited, like uncontrollable wild horses. She had to let the 3 children have some safety awareness and stop running around. Qiaonan deliberately said that the 3 children would lose her so as to increase their sense of responsibility. In order not to lose her, she believed that her 3 children knew what to do. Indeed, when they heard that they were running too quickly and were about to lose their mom, De Bao's expression became serious. De Bao said tenderly, "Mom, you have to follow us well. We'll slow down. Don't get lost. Dad, you have to help us. If we lose Mom, we'll be angry. I'll cry if we lose Mom." Bao pouted. San Bao was fiercer. She opened her little mouth like a tiger and said, "Dad, you have to be obedient. If Mom gets lost, I'll bite you." The 3 children had the heart to protect their mom. However, knowing that their dad was around, the biggest responsibility to take care of their mom was definitely on him. Their dad was responsible for doing it. The 3 of them were responsible for supervising him. Yes, that was it. Zai Sheng laughed coldly. Indeed, they were his offspring. Even the way they threw the responsibility to him was very familiar. It seemed that he had done the same thing many times when he was young. It was confirmed that they were his biological children. The triplets, who had discussed well, no longer ran around. They were like little bodyguards as they surrounded Jiao Nan, asking her to walk this way or be careful of that. Their cute looks attracted quite a lot of people's attention at the airport. They were looking at the triplets with heart-shaped eyes. Chapter 2420, Where was safe? 1. They kept sighing. Whose children were these? They were so good-looking and sensible. Even though they weren't as tall as an adult's thigh, they knew how to protect their mom. As the 3 children's mom, she was probably the most blessed mom in the world. The crowd almost exploded when they saw that Zai Sheng's looks didn't lose to anyone and he had an aura different from that of ordinary people, and when the 3 children addressed him as dad. She was already blessed to have 3 good-looking and sensible children. Now, she had also married an outstanding husband. What did this woman who had these 4 people by her side at the same time want? She was about to become the common enemy of all women. Why did such a good husband and children belong to others but not them? The more depressed and envious the women were, the more they wanted to see how this woman looked. If they looked better than her, even if their children weren't as cute or their husband wasn't as handsome, at least they had won. With such thoughts, the women didn't have the strength to envy Jiao Nan when they saw her being guarded by her husband and children. All right, they should have thought about this earlier. The husband was so good-looking. What poor eyesight would he have if he were to marry an ugly woman? Especially after seeing the 3 children's beautiful and adorable faces, they knew that the mother who gave birth to them would be good-looking as well. This family of 5 was so good-looking that they could be on TV and defeat a large number of celebrities in seconds. The parents were good-looking and so were the children. This family of 5 was about to force people to their deaths. A lot of people at the airport were looking at them. Jiao Nan wasn't dead. How would she not have known this? However, to be honest, ever since she married Zai Sheng, she was already used to such gazes. Based on the Zai family's identity and status, Jiao Nan, as the Zai family's daughter-in-law, naturally received more attention than others. De Bao had also attracted a lot of people's attention before. However, he generally knew those people. There were a lot of strangers at the airport today. De Bao stayed by San Bao's side and decided to protect his sister well. Grandpa said that he was an older brother. When they were outside, he had to protect his sister and mom well. Mom had dad by her side. Then, he and Bao naturally had to protect San Bao well so that she wouldn't be taken away by other adults. Mom, it's so big here. There are so many people. San Bao was much slower. She didn't really pay attention to the people who were sizing her up. This wasn't the first time the 3 children were boarding a plane. However, back then, they were still young. They had no impression that they had been at an airport before. In the face of a place she had never been to before, San Bao was naturally curious. She looked around and said, "Mom, there's delicious food here." Upon thinking about this, San Bao smiled. She was feeling a little hungry. Xiao Nan pinched San Bao's nose. How was she hungry? She was obviously gluttony. The three children didn't have an impression of the airport. Everything was new to them. The airport was big and there were a lot of places to eat outside. Anyway, there was still time. Since San Bao said she was hungry, it didn't matter to eat something. What do you want to eat? Knowing that San Bao was a child with ideas, she directly asked her what she wanted to eat. De Bao and Er Bao were older brothers. At times like these, they gave in to San Bao more, especially since she was pickier with food. It was much easier to feed De Bao and Er Bao. As such, no matter what kind of shop San Bao selected, De Bao and Er Bao wouldn't have any opinions about it. On the contrary, if De Bao or Er Bao were to select a shop and they chose something that San Bao was dissatisfied with, she would kick up a fuss. They also knew San Bao's temper. When Xiao Nan asked De Bao and Er Bao what they wanted to eat, it was as if they had agreed beforehand as they looked at San Bao. At this time, San Bao also knew that her brothers doted on her. She wasn't humble as she directly shared her opinion. Once San Bao spoke, De Bao and Er Bao naturally pointed to the shop that San Bao mentioned and said that they wanted to try the food from this shop. In the face of her two sons strongly supporting their sister, Xiao Nan was helpless. Really, just because San Bao was a girl, the entire family pampered her so much. If that wasn't the case, why weren't De Bao and Er Bao picky with food but San Bao was? Most importantly, San Bao's temper was too overbearing. She only ate at the shop that she chose. Otherwise, she would kick up a fuss. There were so many people in the Zai family. Aside from Zai Sheng, Xiao Nan was the only one who could harden her heart and lecture San Bao with a cold face. Otherwise, Xiao Nan couldn't help but think about how San Bao would be like today. No matter what, San Bao was her only daughter. As long as she could manage her well, San Bao was naturally still her good daughter. Alright, let's eat something here. Xiao Nan ordered food according to the three children's preferences and waited for them to be delivered. Of course, in the process of waiting, they couldn't just possibly sit there. Xiao Nan took out the three children's bibs and helped put them on. There was no choice. The three children were still young. It was unavoidable that they would spill food or drip soup. If the three children didn't put on bibs, the people in the family could spend half a day just washing their clothes. Hungry. Hungry. Upon seeing the fragrant rice noodles being served, San Bao was the first to yell out anxiously. Mom! Hello? I'm hungry. How fragrant! Xiao Nan picked up a thick and white strand of rice noodle and put it on a spoon. She dared to feed San Bao with it only after ensuring that she had already blown it cold. San Bao enjoyed her food and requested for bite after bite. From this way of eating, it was obvious she was satisfied with the food from the shop that she had personally selected. She was already a mother. When they were at home, there were still her parents-in-law and the auntie to help her feed the three children. When they were outside, there were only Xiao Nan and Zai Sheng to take care of them. Zai Sheng had already been a father for 2 years. He was much more familiar with children than before. Between the couple, Xiao Nan took care of San Bao while Zai Sheng took care of their 2 sons. To be exact, Zai Sheng took care of the 2 sons as they felt that they should be groomed. Xiao Nan could take care of the only daughter in the family. Xiao Nan had to blow the food cold before putting it into San Bao's mouth.